Are you listening? Damn.
All right, welcome to AFC North Talk. Obviously, I got a lot of free times on my hands right now, so I just decided I'm just going to take the part as the host today. But welcome to AFC North Talk, the best division in football. Obviously, minus the Bengals because we're trash and we get murdered all the time. But today we have, of course, our returning co-host and my returning co-host, the rest of the gang. SCG Sports, Sonny represents the Ravens. Sonny, what's going on, bro?
Hey, man, I'm excited talking about these games. I'm excited for the playoffs. Let's do this thing, man.
Let's do it. Tony, our resident Steelers fan, how are you doing today, bro?
I'm feeling okay, honestly. I expected this game against the Browns was going to be a massive blowout. It didn't end up that way, and I'm excited to talk about the reasons why.
For sure. And then, of course, my man from the land, back in the playoffs, my man Quincy Carrier. What's going on, bro?
After 18 years, it's been a long drought here in Cleveland, but it's glad to finally be back in the dance with the other big dogs in the AFC North. And I'm excited to talk about what happened week 17. And, excited to hear what Tony has to say because I bet he does have a lot to say. Just excited about everything in there. It looks like it's going to be a banger of a weekend for any football fan in Wild Card Weekend.
Facts. So before we get into everything, we've got a super chat, our first super chat of the day. You can get your question guaranteed to be answered if you send us a super chat. So we have the first one of the day from my man Josh Z for $10. He says, Browns just need to throw the entire playbook at the Steelers and see what happens. 17 years of losing in Pittsburgh has to end sometime. Maybe they take us lightly. We're playing with house money. Q, what are your thoughts on that?
I'll get more in detail on Thursday, but I do think it's going to be interesting, right? Because the Browns did not blow out the Steelers like Tony mentioned, like a lot of people thought they would. Now, I think there was a couple of factors into that kind of went into that that might not be there this Sunday, but it will be interesting to see how a Steeler team looks at that, right? You just barely almost lost to a team with your backups. You're probably thinking you're going to roll them at home the next week. And I wonder if that really affects how they go when preparing for this game. And with all the news coming out with the Browns, having a coach, their main coach, their head coach, and then like their best guard, not their best guard, their second best, their other starting guard, Joe Bitonio.
They're both pretty good. They're both pretty good.
Yeah, test positive. It does seem like, if you could be aware of a team coming into that, not taking the team as serious. But we'll see.
Definitely. So before we get into a lot of the recaps and everything, we wanted to switch it up a little bit, and we're going to do some playoff predictions minus the AFC North. So let me go ahead and get this queued up here. We're going to take a look at this playoff picture. As Quincy stated earlier, this is going to be a exciting weekend for people to look forward to. I don't know why it's so small. But if you cannot see that, we've got the Chiefs over here in the corner. They obviously have a bye. We've got the Bills versus the Colts. We've got the Steelers versus the Browns, Titans, Ravens. And then when we get over to the NFC, we've got the Packers on a bye. We've got the Saints and Bears. We've got the Seahawks, Rams, and we got the Washington football team and the Buccaneers. So kicking things off, I'm going to ask my guy, Sonny, how do you see this thing kind of playing out? What are your predictions for this?
Okay, so I think I can't see the Colts winning this weekend. The Colts look to me to be a decent team, but nothing spectacular. Buffalo is playing with all cylinders. Also, a Colts team that is a dome team playing in Buffalo. The weather might be good. I don't know. I haven't checked, but yeah, weather at this time of year in Buffalo usually is not the best. Allen is playing lights out. That team is rolling. Their defense is kind of suspect, but I'm not talking about the Colts, that their offense is that much, great. So I think the Bills pulled that game. I'm pulling for the W team. Let me say this. I want the W team to win too, so they can say, 7-9. Here you go, Brady. I will be spectacular. Who else? I'm missing one game.
You got in the NFC. You did Bucks Washington. You have Bears Saints.
Oh, yeah, this is the Saints are gonna roll on the Bears. I mean, the Bears. I don't even know how they're here, but they're here. And that's how Nagy didn't get fired because they made it. But I think Nagy's a good coach. I think the Saints, although I feel like the Saints is that one team that every year loses against a random team they should not beat them, right? The Vikings twice. I mean, it's crazy, right? Oh, and we forgot the Seahawks and Rams.
Well, who can forget John Wolford starting a playoff game?
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, he's not back yet. Man.
Yeah,
Goff probably is not going to play in that game.
Exactly. That's why I would take the Seattle Seahawks because of, not that Goff is great, but he's better than their backup.
Although the interesting thing about that matchup in particular is that Russell Wilson started the year in MVP form and did finish the year with 40 touchdowns, but that offense has not been good in recent games, and that Rams defense is legitimately good. I mean, you can make a case that they're even better in recent weeks. You don't even make the case they are better in recent weeks than even the Steeler defense has been. And so that could make for an interesting matchup. If it's a closer game, again, Wofford just has to make one or two plays in that game. If that ends up being a very Seahawks game where
the Seattle's also the defense has gotten better, right?
Seattle's defense, right?
Yeah, they were early and then they got better as the year went by.
But how many 10 to 11 games have we watched Seattle play, right? If it ends up in that kind of game and it just comes down to one play here or there, it's possible that Rams offense, who does have a good, they have a good playmakers. Higbee's a good tight end. The Cooper Kupp, they have Robert Woods. Van Jefferson as a rookie wide receiver has been pretty good this year, although he's been overshadowed by just the plethora of great receivers we got in this draft. So wouldn't shock me to see the Rams win that one just because of how weird Seattle always plays. But
yeah, it wouldn't.
Yeah, Russ hasn't been consistent this year at all. He's either been really great Russell Wilson or he's been, bad Russell Wilson. It's been weird to see this year. But I don't think LA, even with Jared Goff, they didn't have the offense to keep up with the Seahawks that they were able to move at all cylinders. Now that you're not going to have Goff on top of all of that, I don't see them being able to put up enough points to beat the Seahawks. The Bears versus the Saints, God bless Mitchell Trubisky. Somehow he has 2 playoff appearances in his career.
Right.
But I think Taysom Hill can probably go in there and beat the Bears if they need be. And then you got the football team versus the Buccaneers. Buccaneers are a weird team, right? Sometimes they'll play lights out, look like the team everybody thought they were going to be at the offseason. And other times they lose unexplainable games. So that's going to be an interesting one to watch. I do think Washington has a much better chance than a lot of people are going to give them just because that defensive line is so good, and that is what always gives Tom Brady a problem. You look at all the Tom Brady upsets, the Giants twice, the Philadelphia Eagles, the one time they did it. The common denominator was a dominant defensive line. So if that Washington defensive line can play like they did against Pittsburgh, it could be a similar result there. I think that's going to be the most entertaining game on the NFC side this weekend. The other two I think are going to be straight blowouts.
Yeah, that Washington Tampa game is another interesting one for me because, like you said, Quincy, Washington can present some problems for the Bucs on that defensive line, certainly. But then, that Tampa team, they didn't lose to anyone that didn't make the playoffs this year. Every team they lost to this year made the playoffs, and they've gone on a run here of 8-3. And their only losses are to the Saints, Rams, and Chiefs. So, not a terrible stretch, but like you said, they play these weirdly close games. They lost to the Bears mid-season. They played a close game a couple weeks back against the Falcons. So it wouldn't surprise me to see them get upset, but that offense is clicking now. They added AB in that offense.
Evans, right?
Evans looks like he may not play in that one. And
Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they got OJ Howard. Still, they got.
Yeah. So for me, when you get to the playoffs, to me personally, it comes down to the quarterback matchups. Who's the better quarterback? That's always the advantage for me going into the playoffs when I look at these things for the most part. Obviously, defense plays a role. Run game also plays a role. When I look at the San Francisco LA matchup, I don't care if Goff was playing in this game. I'm not picking Jared Goff to take Russell Wilson, a Super Bowl winning quarterback, out of the playoffs. I just can't put that stock in the LA Rams like that because of him. I still don't believe in Jared Goff. So for me, I think that the Seahawks are going to take that game, especially with Russell coming in. Better coaching staff with Pete Carroll. They got my boy Carlos Dunlap over there doing his thing. Maybe he can get his first career playoff win. But Russell Wilson, I'm not betting against. Same thing with Drew Brees. Like, there's in no way, shape, or form could I ever pick Mitchell Trubisky over Drew Brees, who's possibly going into his last playoff run and maybe retiring, according to some reports, this season. He's not going out like that. He's not going out to Mitchell Trubisky in his potentially last season. We'll see. He might pull a Brett Favre.
I'm about to say, quarterbacks don't go out in the playoffs gracefully unless you're Peyton Manning. That's the only one I've seen.
That was even ugly. That was pretty. That was pretty ugly. But the next one, the team. You guys know that I like the team, but this is what I'm gonna say. All you guys for all those years that said that Tom Brady was a product of the Bill Belichick system, what are you saying now? That is not a fact. I mean, the Patriots, we see where they're at. We see where Tom Brady is. The fact that he did this with a completely new team, yes, he had several weapons and a new system and everything, but he did it with another team, and this team is loaded. The other thing is the defense isn't as bad as people think as well. They also have a pretty solid defense over there. I can't pick Alex Smith over Tom Brady, bro. Like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't see Tom Brady going out like that. They have been up and down.
Nick Foles almost beat Tom Brady before.
Nick Foles, but I can't do it. I can't do it. I think Tom Brady is winning this game, and we're gonna see what the NFL wants us to see because it's all about dollars. I'm not trying to say that these games are fixed or anything, but we want everybody here wants to see Tom Brady versus Aaron Rodgers in the next round. So for those purposes, for scientific purposes.
I like it for science.
I'm gonna say that the Bucs are gonna take this one.
Watch all that happen, but the Bears win and just ruin it all.
That is 100% gonna happen. They can fix the Bucs game as much as they want. The Bears are gonna screw it up and actually win in New Orleans. We should mention about Washington. It's not just gonna be Alex Smith against Tom Brady because Ron Rivera did say he is considering rotating quarterbacks. We could see. Whatever his name is, Heineke or whatever.
Never mind. Yeah. I take back. This is not going to be close. That's dumb. That's dumb. Yeah. What are they doing? 2 quarterbacks in the play? Okay, hey. I take it back.
Wait till we talk about Taysom Dobbs here in a minute.
Oh my God! Okay. So, let's take it back here. Okay, the Bucs by 40. Bucs.
Before we get into the AFC side, I got a couple of super chats here, so we'll start with. Misfit Culture here, TV for $5. Appreciate that, bro. I'll talk the playoffs in depth on my podcast, but I'm looking at Chiefs versus Packers in the Super Bowl. All right.
Well, it's
a chalk pick,
Yeah, it is a chalk pick, but chalk has been, chalk, for the last 6 years, I believe is the right number there. The last 6 years, the Super Bowl has been played between 2 teams that had a bye. There was only 1 bye in each conference this year. We'll see if that holds. But you have to give the Chiefs and Packers have the easiest.
When was the last time a team that did not have won the Super Bowl?
Was it?
I'm not.
Giants.
2012.
Yeah. I know where you're getting at. Was it
the Ravens?
Yeah, it was when Joe Flacco had the out-of-body experience of all time, which then doomed that franchise to his $300 million contract or whatever they gave him, and we got to enjoy that.
By the way, Tony, here's all my argument is against tape this or chalk this year. Do you see that number on top of that playoff? Right, it says 2020 NFL. Yeah. There's no way this goes as planned. Like, there's no way.
Well, listen, it's not like 2020
normal.
It's not like 2021 is a normal year. I just watched Mason Rudolph put up 320 yards in an NFL game and look halfway decent. So 2021 is taking after
the team is going to win it all.
So the Colts are going to the Super Bowl. That's what's happening. The team that nobody thinks.
No, the Bears are. Mitchell Trubisky is going to be apparently.
If it's Browns Bears in the Super Bowl, is anyone really going to be that surprised? Is anyone really going to be that surprised?
I'm picking the team with no name. Let's go
Washington. I'm just saying the 2 teams that have been most cursed in recent years, right? The double doink for the Bears. We don't have to go into the Browns.
Markey double doinks it to win the Super Bowl against the whole team. Yeah, let's go. Let's do it. Mitchell Trubisky, a Cleveland native, those 3 interceptions to let us get our first ring. Let's do it right there. That's the one right there.
So we got another super chat here from Anthony Valdez for $5. Appreciate that, Anthony. As a Steelers fan from Texas, I hope my Steelers can beat the Browns. Go Squealers.
I first of all, Andrew, thank you for the super chat. It is weird though. Like he put that back up. I hope the Steelers can beat the Browns. I hope this is a Steeler team that was 11-0, right? At one point, we were at top of the world. Now we are hoping. We hope that this 11-0 team can beat the Browns at home in the playoffs. We hope. That's where we are. It's weird. It's just a weird feeling where we are right now as Steeler fans. But we'll talk about that more.
Right at home.
At home, yeah. I hope.
All right. So on the AFC side of things, obviously we're going to leave out the AFC North games, right? Because we've got our show coming Thursday with that. So if I'm not mistaken, that only leaves the Colts and the Bills game. For me personally in this game, I'm going to still kind of go with the hot hand and the future at the position of the quarterback. And I have to go with Josh Allen in this game. You know, Phillip Rivers, I called him out. Then he tried to turn it around, but then he turned back into old man trash Rivers. And I just think that that's what's going to happen in this game because Josh Allen and the Bills have been on fire. And I'm not sure that old man Rivers can hang. Now, he is a veteran. He has been there before. I'm not sure. Is this Josh Allen's first playoff appearance or is this?
No, they made the playoffs last year.
They made the playoffs last year.
They should have won that game.
This is going to be the year I think that he takes a step forward. And I think that the Colts this year, yeah, they've been okay, but they still seem like pretenders to me. Like they did it. It didn't seem to me that they should have even have made these playoffs. Like honestly, so for me, I'm gonna say that I got the Bills winning this game. Let's go ahead and shift to Quincy. Who you got winning this game, bro?
Yeah, this is going to be the game for Josh Allen to finally get rid of all of these like interception worries that people still have of him, the inaccuracy stuff. I think it's been pretty easy to like find your way to tunnel out of the Josh Allen is good program by saying, well, in the playoffs, he's going to be back to being inaccurate Josh Allen. This is a chance against a very good defensive back team, very good secondary. He's going to get an opportunity to go out here. And if he shreds them apart, nobody's going to say anything about those interceptions or, how he is inaccurate anymore. So I think he's actually going to do that. I think Buffalo's going to take a huge step here. They've been on fire. There's two teams that have been on absolute fire coming into the playoffs. That's not the Bengals. I'm sorry. That's the Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills. And that can go one of two ways in the playoffs. Either you continue to be on fire and you win, or you just lose flame at the wrong time, and then what happened last year to the Ravens happens in the first round or the second round. My bad. So one of those two things either happen to the hot team coming into the playoffs. It's going to be interesting to see here. And then another note, just a general note. I know people love to go with momentum at this time. You have to remember when the Giants got in, I believe it was either 2007 or 2012, when they got in to win the Super Bowl that year, they limped into that thing. Like they did not get in there strong at all, but they made a run. So, whatever happened at the beginning of January, at the end of December, take that all out, throw it out, and then, it really starts here, how you start to play here. But I do think Buffalo is going to continue to be hot. And I do think Buffalo this year, they're going to be set in for a very good battle in that divisional round.
The other question I have there, where is that game going to be located at? Like, is it a home game for Buffalo or is it for Indianapolis?
It's Orchard Park.
It's in Buffalo? Oh, and it could be snowing? Oh.
It's 29 degrees and cloudy is the current weather.
Yeah, but old people don't like the cold. So.
Phillip Rivers has put up some bangers in the cold, though. I have to give him his credit.
I mean, Phillip Rivers played through an ACL tear against the Patriots in the championship game. Yeah,
you're not about to play Phillip Rivers like that. He might not be as consistently good this year as we are used to him being maybe in the early 2000s. But Phillip Rivers, I'm not going to play him like that, especially in the playoffs. Phillip Rivers, underrated in the playoffs.
Yeah, very true. So Tony, who do you have? I guess taking this game.
This is one of these games where I have a weird feeling. You have that weird feeling, man. The Colts might pull this one off, but it again, your head tells you like you're an idiot. There's no way that that's going to happen because the Bills are on absolute red hot fire right now. We talk about the best teams going in. There's no team hotter right now than the Buffalo Bills. They're just putting up 30, 40, 50 on pretty much everybody they play. That aren't the Pittsburgh Steelers, by the way. So. Yeah, I'm gonna. They only put up 26. I don't know if you guys remember that, but they only put up 26.
I did.
That was a pick six, by the way. So just want to throw that out there. No, I'm gonna take Buffalo in this one. I'll take Buffalo.
And Sonny, who you got in this game, bro?
Yeah, this is a game that I think if the Colts win is because they basically did everything perfect and Josh Allen had a pick or two here. I'm not expecting neither of those two things to happen. I'm expecting the Buffalo Bills to come in, show they're going to have some fans in the stands, so they're going to feel some, with the fans and the energy. I think I don't see Buffalo losing, man. I try and I'm like, nah, Buffalo's winning.
Yeah.
It might be closer. It might not be a blowout. I think it might win by at least 10 points.
Definitely. So before we get into our next topic, we got a super chat here that would actually pull us into the next topic. So we got J Blitz Comic, appreciate that. He's got a super chat of $5. Please remember that if you do send a super chat, it is guaranteed to be read. We will answer it, and you can derail the show. So if you do want to derail the show, you can do that with a super chat
right now.
Yeah, he's right. So this is a derail right now.
Really, we lost by 2 points with half our bench playing. So
yeah,
after we have you guys respond to this, we're going to get into that game, and we're going to talk about Steelers and Browns. So Quincy, what are your thoughts on? Well, actually, this is a Tony one. Tony, what are your thoughts on this? And Quincy, what's your rebuttal to this?
Yeah, well, I will just say this, right? Because he sent this in as I was talking about the we hope type of deal, right? The idea that Steeler fans are going into this game, not so confident. And there are a lot of Steeler fans out there who feel like this, right? Which is like just A plus B equals C, which is, hey, this team, we almost beat you with our backups. When the starters get in there, this is gonna be an absolute slaughter like it was back in week 6 or whatever that was. I don't think it's that simple. I just don't think it works out that way. But again, no Steeler fans in chat right now, or no one watching this right now, it's a Steeler fan, can tell me that you are not worried. You have no worry whatsoever that the offense that we watched against Buffalo, against Washington, against Baltimore, against those football teams, that's not showing up at all in this game against Cleveland. That can't happen. That can definitely happen. Okay, we've watched one half of good football from Ben Roethlisberger in the past 6 games. You have to be worried that will happen again against this Cleveland team. And yes, while the defense is going to be back and the defense should be better in this one, again, I don't think this team can, as I've said before, this team cannot Mr. Magoo its way through a playoff game, even against the Cleveland Browns.
Quincy, what are your thoughts on this super chat here?
It's an interesting Steeler fans this week in my mentions. A lot of guys are really confident in the Steelers just turning the switch on and blowing the Browns out. And I get it, right? 22-24 is not the most convincing victory when you have about 5 starters out. Browns, I would mention, had a few starters out as well, especially on the secondary, which is, Robert Jackson on Chase Claypool. That's going to happen. I don't care who's throwing the ball to him. You look at what the Browns defense did against guys like what's his name in Jacksonville?
Mike Glennon.
Mike Glennon had a decent day. Even Dwayne Haskins, other than his 2 interceptions, had a pretty decent game against the Browns secondary. So, I would take it with a grain of salt there, especially when Denzel Ward's not out there. But, I get why Steeler fans are confident. And I hope that the Pittsburgh Steelers are just as confident as you guys are, to be honest, because I want them to come in here and think they're just going to beat the same old Browns, because I just don't think that's how this game is going to go down. But we'll see. We'll see. A lot of just bullish confidence for a team that has lost 3 of their last 4 and has played probably 2 quarters with their main unit of good football. Again, the defense is probably going to be better next week. Obviously, it's going to be better. Browns don't have their starting left guard. That's going to be a factor. They don't even have their backup left guard, who I think that's probably a good thing, because Nick Harris was an absolute joke against the Jets there. He's just not a guard, and Cam Hayward on Nick Harris terrifies me. So I'm glad I don't have to think about that one. So we'll see. We'll see how much all of the outbreak stuff. Look, Kevin Stefanski's out right now. Joe Bitonio's out. We don't know who's coming back. We don't know who's going to be out again. That's what the situation is with the Cleveland Browns. I don't know. At this point, it's pointless for me to break it down until we know exactly who's going to be playing. But yeah, we only beat your bench, technically your bench, not everything. You still had Minka and Chase. Yeah. You had a good amount of starters out there.
Offense was pretty much the same. Yeah.
All I'm going to say is we beat you with our bench, and we're the Bengals. So that's.
And I will also say this. People do this math, right? People do this math with football. They think it scales. Where it's like, oh, we had the backup, so when we get the starters, that's plus 20. That's not how football works.
That's not how it works.
The Steelers probably played a more convincing game against the Ravens when the Ravens had their starters versus when the Ravens didn't have their starters. This is all about how you go into the game, your matchups, your fits. And then also, some guys can be really good players, but have a bad game. Like, that's also a huge – or bad players can have good games. Andrew Sadeo last year in a playoff game against the New Orleans Saints just locked up Michael Thomas last year in the slot. Like, go back and watch the tape. Andrew Sadeo, who we've picked on all year for the show, in a playoff game, locks up Michael Thomas, one of the best wide receivers in football. Like, you never know who's going to step up and who's going to shrivel down in these moments. So, I'm just eager to get this game kicked off and see what's going to happen there. But I don't want to derail the show any further.
All right. So we got a couple more super chats here. We got one from AJ for $5. He says the Ravens rested their starters week 17 last year.
That was in response when we were talking about the Bills being red hot, and we were talking about the Ravens. So I think someone in Chad mentioned like the Ravens lost last year.
And this is how hot the Ravens were last year. They still won. Like, that's how hot the Ravens were last year. That's my point. Like, the Ravens were probably as hot can be. Like, when you got RG3 going out there against a team that actually needs to win in the Steelers, and you still win that game, you are hot as hot can be. And then, you ended up not being as hot in the playoffs. It's just sometimes it works like that.
I guess I would say the argument that AJ is making here is that the resting of the starters actually hindered them against Tennessee. Yeah.
Gotcha. So we got another one from Jay Blitz comments. Apparently, there's some wagers being made in the comments.
Yeah, apparently he wants to put it out. I don't know. I don't know.
He got that stimulus money on here, and he's putting $1,000 of that stimulus money
on it. Well, AFC North talk is not that popular yet, but. Yeah, I would love to what. Okay, we don't have to go back and forth there. We don't have to go back and forth there. But what is a reasonable expectation for this offense? Like the Mason Rudolph was able to put up 22 points. So do you think the Steelers offense? Are you guaranteeing that the Steelers offense will score 30? The offense will score 30 points. They had no turnovers in this game, so none of that was from the defense. So can this Steeler offense put up 30 points against the Browns? Are you that confident? Really? Because I'm just not. I mean, I'm not there.
All right, so we got another one here from Kodak655 for $5. Appreciate that, man. Quincy, are the Browns having a C outbreak?
It looks like, it's more or less the city that's having the outbreak because a lot of this is community spread. Again, this isn't like the Raiders, the Tennessee Titans, or the Baltimore Ravens. There's been no violation of protocol. And actually, those teams kind of benefited from having a violation of protocol because their games would be able to push back because they were not mindful of the rules. But, since the Browns are just suffering from following the protocol, doing what they have to do, but the city is having an outbreak right now. It's unfortunate. It is what it is. But, it's win or go home. So you got to win.
Yeah, it just is what it is. I mean, I think the entire country is having an outbreak. The next one is, again, from Jay Blitz comments for $5. He says, look at our record in our season, I think. We actually played every team in the playoffs except Kansas City and beat all but the Bills.
And that's true. And that's true. But again, if you're acting like what happened before that first Baltimore game is who this team is today, again, we're just on different pages, right? If the playoffs ended after that Tennessee game and we played the playoffs from there, maybe, right? But after the first Baltimore game, things changed for this team offensively. They were not the same team. They were not as explosive. They were not as consistent. The efficiency just was not there week in and week out. And I know your next super chat is going to be about Jacksonville and Cincinnati. Neither of those teams made the playoffs. So this team going up against playoff caliber opponents just has not had the kind of offensive efficiency we saw earlier in the year. They got it back for a half. I'm not arguing they didn't. They got it back for a half. I'm just not comfortable sitting here today telling you that I'm guaranteeing in any way, or I'm putting $1,000 on the line to say that this team is guaranteed going to score 30 points after watching it play just one half of good football in the last 6 weeks.
Yeah, you don't know what could happen. Big Ben could be on the way to get some donuts and get in a car accident, and Mason Rudolph is starting this game.
Maybe I'm more confident then. We don't know. We'll see what I think about it.
I would also like to wonder what the dynamic is because we have Big Ben those last 2 quarters saying, hey, I drew it up pretty much. I did my own plays there. And then I don't think Mason Rudolph drew anything up against the Browns. The offense took some deep shots. He held on to the ball. Yeah, So maybe Randy Fichtner's coming into this game like, look what I did with Mason Rudolph with my offense. And Big Ben's like, look what I did for those 2 quarters. And boom, you have the conflict again. You don't know what's going to happen. Like, I'm not saying or guaranteeing that's going to happen, but goofy stuff can just affect everything when it comes to this time of the year.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's a brand new season. So Jay Blitz says no other team in the playoffs did that. We did acknowledge that, so appreciate that, Jay Blitz. We've got a couple more here. You guys trying to derail the show, but I'm all here for it. I'm here for all of it. So let's see. I think someone's coming at me. Misfit culture. What? Wow, Ace, just rub it in that your backups beat the Steelers, man, guys.
That's another thing, Steelers fans. We act like that didn't happen 3 weeks ago. Like, let's. I understand. Hey, you guys are excited. You guys think you're going to roll the Browns. I would question that amount of confidence. I really would question that amount of confidence because unless you think the Browns are just absolutely terrible, which you might because you're still a fan, you probably don't respect the Browns. But it's just interesting to see how much confidence the Steelers have going into this game for a team that's dropped 3 of their last 4.
Thursday is going to be epic. Be sure that you guys are subscribed right now if you're tuning in. Hit that notification bell because Thursday is going to get crazy in here.
By the way, I just want to respond to that real quick. Technically speaking, no Vince Williams, no Joe Hayden in that game against the Bengals. We had a lot of backups in that one as well.
No Jim Burrow, no everyone.
Won't have Joe Hayden this week. But you did have Vince Williams.
No Spillane either. Yeah. No Vince Williams in that game. No Spillane. Ton of backups against the Bengals.
Yeah, Bengals have backups of backups. So
I'm about to say, do we want to count the backups that the Browns had in there on Sunday? Do we really want to? If we're counting like injured backups, we can do that. Yeah, the Browns have a ton.
So we got another one here from Jack McCurry for $4.99. He says, Tony, did Rudolph's performance against Cleveland do himself any favors to be the quarterback after Ben retires? I thought that he played better than Ben has lately.
Yeah, we can throw out the whole go to Tony for that thing because I'll just say my piece now. Mason Rudolph was simultaneously his best performance he's had of his entire career. And also, he was the reason why the Steelers lost this game. And it's a weird thing to say about him, but those two things are absolutely true, right? This was the best Mason Rudolph we've ever seen. No one, not even Mason Rudolph's parents thought he was going to play this well. Okay, that he played out of his mind. Good in this game. It was phenomenal to watch, and at every moment you expected the big mistake to happen, and it finally did happen. Right, that's the problem for Mason right now. Do I think he can be the successor to Ben? No, but what he made a strong case for is that he can be a backup quarterback in this league, no doubt about it. Right? I mean, the deep ball that he was throwing in this game was beautiful. He played really well within the structure of this offense. The problem for him, and this is a problem for a lot of backup quarterbacks in the league, is as soon as you get them outside of structure, as soon as they get any kind of pressure, well, the wheels come off. And he still has that deer in headlights thing, but it's not the deer in headlights went away from he used to have deer in headlights not only when he was under pressure, but when he was at that first read. That's not the case anymore. He was scanning the field well. But when Benny Snell missed the block and the guy was in his face and he just chucks it to a defender, that's the kind of thing you just cannot have, right? And he's in year 3 now. He shouldn't be doing that anymore. So I think this was a great performance for him, and I'm excited now because the Steelers don't have to go into this offseason, worrying about should we trade for Sam Darnold? Should we get Jameis Winston? Right? One more year of Ben. Let Mason be the backup, and then worry about quarterback when Ben says, "I'm retired." Now you start worrying about the quarterback position.
I love that choice.
I love that as well. Next one we have is from my guy. I hope I'm saying it right. Arel. Shout out to the AFC North, best division in football. Go Ravens. Appreciate that, bro. For sure. We got another one here from Richard Hudspeth for $5. The only issue with the Steelers is Big Ben. That's it. Rudolph proved that.
What?
Ben doesn't really like to throw.
What?
Wow.
Claypool. Game over.
Yeah. Well, I will say this.
I'm loving it.
It was an interesting game because I think Browns fans come out of this game obviously happy that they got in the playoffs. We saw that they were elated that not only the fans but the players as well, and the 18-year drought is over. But I think Steeler fans come out of this game with some positives as well, right? And one of those positives is Chase Claypool is a main cog of this offense, and I think you saw that on Sunday. We could talk about Mason playing better than Ben, but the key here, the common denominator there, because what happened in the second half of the Colts game when Ben played so well? Well, they got the ball to Chase Claypool. He had 5 catches for 50 yards in that second half against the Colts. And in this game, he had 5 catches for 101 yards and a touchdown. Get the ball to Chase Claypool is the common denominator there. And I think what Fichtner and Tomlin should take out of this game is the idea that they need to play Claypool more. Look, he only played 50% of the snaps in this game. He only got 27 snaps in the passing game, and he was targeted 11 times. That should tell you everything you need to know about how integral Chase Claypool is to this offense. And I think he needs to be getting more reps, even if that means at the expense of a guy like Deontay Johnson, who you guys know I like so much. I would rather give Chase Claypool those reps. You're right. I mean, you're absolutely right, Sonny. And by the way, another player who I think you might want to play a little more in this offense, we learned that this week, is Vance McDonald. Because as much as we all like Eric Ebron, roller coaster ride versus steady ship, right? I mean, the steady ship of Vance McDonald was just nice, right? You threw it to a tight end. You didn't have to worry about, is he going to drop it? Is he going to fumble? Is anything crazy going to happen? No, Vance just caught it, got a good 6-7 yards, and you put him in a second or third and short and go from there. And speaking of second and third and short real quick, I do want to say that I love, and credit to Randy Fichtner, who I I'm not a huge fan of. There was actual creativity in the offense. The Josh Dobbs, the Taysom Dobbs package, I love it. Some sort of creativity in this offense. Give defenses something to worry about other than just, we're going to throw short, by the way. Hey, by the way, we're going to throw short here.
You can do that when Ben is not there.
Yeah, take Ben off the field. Just like Mason off the field.
I
like it. And Tom said this may be a thing next week. Look, anything to fix 3rd and 1. Literally, anything to fix 3rd and 1. I like the Dobbs package. It adds something else to this offense. An offense that, as I've said, is stagnant at this point. From a creativity standpoint, I like to see it. So hopefully we can see that more.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think the Browns will like the Dobbs package as well. Yeah. We got another one here with this Steelers Civil War going on right now at the quarterback position. Andres Morales for $2.99. When Ben calls the plays, the offense performs.
I think Ben and Randy Fichtner are overthinking it, right? Because Randy Fichtner called the plays last week against the Browns. It seemed to work, right? Yeah. Like there seemed to not be an issue. All the things that people were complaining about Randy Fichtner, all the short passes. Doesn't seem like it's a Randy Fichtner thing. It seems like the biggest issue isn't, and I think this is where people get it confused with Ben, right? People see Ben and they say, oh, he's not throwing deep. He doesn't have it anymore. He doesn't have the arm strength. That's not the case. He has the arm strength. If Ben wants to fling it downfield, he can fling it downfield. The problem is he willing to stay? Because the one thing I'll give Mason Rudolph a lot of credit for, he was willing to stay in the pocket for a very long time. And a couple of times it got him killed during that game. But he was able to hold on to that ball and wait for these guys to break open against the Browns, practice squad corners, especially like Robert Jackson out there, on Chase Claypool. That's just a rough deal, bro.
I don't even think Robert Jackson is on Madden, let alone
Robert Jackson is 5'9" and runs a 4.7 40 on Chase Claypool. Like, I don't know what you're gonna do on that. That's just bad. But he's willing to wait there for him to break open and take that hit to get the ball to him. The big problem with Ben hasn't been, does he have it physically? He has it all there, or mentally. It's been there a lot of the time this year. The big problem with Ben is he willing to get hit to make these plays? And is he going to do that all of a sudden because the playoffs are here now? And the biggest question is that a switch you can just flip on? I don't think that getting hit a lot is a switch you can just flip on. And like, it's so odd to say that's the problem for Ben, because Ben is a dude just like Josh Allen who used to just take hit after hit after hit. But now he's at the point in his career where he lost some weight. He does not want to take those hits anymore. He does not want to be on the ground as much anymore. And that has been kind of, I think, the genesis of the problems with the deep ball. Ben wants to get that ball out. He'll throw a deep ball if he feels confident that guy's going to be open and he can get the ball out under 2 seconds or under 2.5. But if he has to hold that ball over 3 seconds, he's not going to wait for that shot to pop open. And that's been the biggest difference from Ben this year than so many other years. It's some positives. He throws less interceptions now. He's more efficient. Yeah. Well, I don't know if he's more efficient with the football. I have to look at the advanced stats, but he's not. Yeah, he doesn't turn the ball over as much when he does that, but also, he doesn't go downfield a lot. That's the thing with Ben, and it's interesting to see, is that a switch you can turn on? For any football player to not get used to taking hits all season.
Yeah, I don't know if it's so much. I mean, I think that not wanting to get hit is, it's obvious, right? No one wants to get hit, and certainly a player like Ben Roethlisberger at his age, coming off the elbow, you can understand it. I think the other part of it, though, and you've heard Ben talk about this a lot if you listen to any of his post-game press conferences or interviews. He talks about how good this defense is, right? And just not wanting to screw it up. I think that's a big part of what Ben wants to do is like, I'm not going to try and fit it in a tight window. I'm not going to try and fit it downfield in 50-50 balls because I got this great defense behind me that's going to keep the team that I'm playing in the 20s or teens, and I just got to do enough to get by. And we've seen this team do enough to get by a lot this year, but the problem is defense is starting to figure that out, and they're sitting on the short stuff, and Ben has to open it up at some point.
So we got a super chat here from our man Juju Delicious. You didn't put it in there. We appreciate the super chat. So if one of you guys see him, if you can, Juju Delicious, in the comments, write what your question is. But I'm going to do something right here, and I'm going to treat this for now until you put yours in here as a donation to this next comment that's directly right under it, and I'm going to read it. And it says, "Big Ben hurts his elbow reaching for a donut."
I love
that is
wow.
Hilarious. Got
He's
another
still
super
this
chat
year,
from the
Bill
president, former president of the United States, Bill Clinton, is a
We're
fan of
so
AFC North talk. Big bank there,
Wow.
$5. What are the chances
Can't believe
of the
it.
Browns beating the Steelers at the strength they're at now?
Any
That's-
given Sunday, guys.
Any given Sunday.
You can
And I think we're not gonna let
Whoa.
Quincy or Tony answer this one because Thursday, that's when it's gonna be answered.
I'm not going
So-
to answer it directly, but what I will say is also keep in mind, Steeler fans, you won by 2, but Nick Chubb only ran the ball 14 times. Like the Browns were clearly trying to save a lot because they knew if they won that game, they would play the Steelers again. Like it's kind of, they only pulled out 2 tricks. Was the one on the end zone to Jarvis Landry, which is the halfback run they do sometimes. They did it a couple times last year, and they did it a lot 2 years ago. So they brought that one back out. And then the Baker wing tee, to get that 3rd and 1. I think that's you'll only ever see that play in that special situation to clinch the playoff. But I would say that the Browns team you saw on Sunday, it's going to be a lot different. I don't think they really played a lot of their tricks out this week that they're going to play next week. And same goes for the Steelers, obviously. Again, it would be difficult to read a ton into this game from both sides of the ball and then directly put it on what's going to happen Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I find that a little hard to believe considering this is a 1-score game. Every single time that the Browns have the ball is a 1-score game. So,
but if you look at what they did offensively, it's literally like that would be the same. When they played Tennessee, they put out a lot of tricks to win that game. Like you could tell when Kevin Stefanski comes in there and he's trying to do a lot to win it. But what you saw against Pittsburgh, a lot of empty, which is just the bare offense. Not even a ton of play action stuff. Just a lot of drops from the under center. It wasn't an expanded offense. And then also the Nick Chubb thing, right? Like Nick Chubb was clearly healthy. I mean, he looked really healthy to start the game there, but they ran Hunt a ton. This for a team that's had a ton of injury problems this year. I think it was just going into this like, hey, if we can beat them without breaking it all out, we'll do it. And then in the second, I think once they got to halftime, they had the lead. At halftime, they're like, okay, we can win this without breaking out the bag of tricks. And then the Steelers got into that game late, almost tied it up. And I think that's why you never saw. I think if that game were like 22-24 to start the 4th quarter, they would have broke glass and did everything that they would have. But since that game didn't get 22-24 until they had the opportunity to clinch the game at the last drive anyways, I don't think you really saw that much from Kevin Stefanski.
All right, so unfortunately, we've got 666 live viewers. We need some more people to join here. Be sure to share this so we can there it is, 667. Thank you, guys.
There you go.
But if you are watching live right now, please be sure to hit that notification bell and hit that subscribe button. Sonny, my guy, you said that there's a super chat that we need to get to. Can you go ahead and read that for me, my friend?
Yeah, it's from the Ultimate Sports TV. He says here, Tony is the only non-toxic and realistic Steelers fan. I don't know about realistic. He's kind of delusional sometimes. But his comment says realistic Steelers fan.
Hold on. I have receipts, and I was going to wait till the end of the season. But since you said that, can we do receipts? Let's do some receipts because we haven't derailed this show enough.
I predicted 6-10. Like I can't talk about anybody not being.
We don't have to talk about the Bengals.
We don't have to talk about anything else. I got the receipts here. So we all did a prediction. We all did a prediction for the division. Who's going to win? Who's going to come in second, third? In fact, we did records for everyone. I'll just run it through real quick. Quincy.
Hold on. Before this is said, I did say that 3 teams were going to make the playoffs.
That's right.
I did say
a lot of us. You and I both did. You and I both said 3 teams. In fact,
all right, let's let Tony get to it.
Okay, go ahead, Tony.
Sonny, you had 3 teams making it. You had the Steelers making it 8-8.
Yeah, because
the Steelers making it 8-8.
It was the 7th seed this year. It was
Okay. Well, I mean, 8-8, not a great record. Okay. Let's just go through them real quick. Quincy had the Ravens at 13-3, the Browns at 11-5. Nailed the Browns, by the way. Congratulations on that, Quincy. You know your own team. Bengals at 7-9, Steelers at 6-10. Missing by, if my math is correct here, missing by 10.5 games total on that. Ace, you had the Browns 11-5, Ravens, so nailed that. Ravens 10-6, Bengals 9-7, Steelers 8-8. So you did nail the idea that this was going to be a very good division. Off there by 9.5 games. Sonny,
man, I didn't know his 3 playoff teams included the Bengals. I did not know
that. Sonny had the Ravens 14-2, the Browns 12-4, the Bengals 5-11, the Steelers 8-8. off by 8.5 games. I had the division number 1 in the division, Steelers 11-5, off by 1 on my own team. But I did nail the Ravens at 11-5. I had the Browns at 9-7, and the Bengals at 4-12. I mean that I was only 3.5 games off in the entire division. Just saying, not delusional, completely realistic. In fact, if you need to trust anyone, trust Tony.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Misfit Culture TV, $5. He says that he read that Steelers fans used the Ravens outbreak and made themselves quote unquote victims. Tony, if the Browns beat the Steelers, don't play victim.
Well, if they move the game to like Wednesday, obviously I'm gonna be livid. But other than that, no, obviously I'm not gonna. If the Browns beat the Steelers, it'll be by the Steelers' own doing. And this is what I don't understand about Steeler fans, right? Like Steeler fans keep saying this, like, oh, we won't beat the backups. The Steelers' problems this year has not been opponent related. This team lost to the Bengals because they couldn't move the football against the Cincinnati Bengals. Okay, their problems offensively have nothing to do with the talent on the other side of the football. It's everything self-inflicted. So if they can figure that out, then they'll have a good chance to beat the Browns. If they can't, they'll lose to the Cleveland Browns. No doubt about it.
Definitely. So AFC North talk gang, I got a challenge for you. We had someone in here that said that they would put $1,000 on that game, right? Well, I have a challenge for you. We have 691 live viewers right now. Let's get it to 1,000. Share it, like it, do everything that we can. Let's get this to 1,000 live viewers if we can by the end of this show. We got another super chat here from Richard Hudspeth. Again, appreciate you, Richard. $5. Don't mistake me saying Rudolph is a better quarterback. Ben has been throwing short. No one rushes him anymore. They just wait for the slant and jump to bat it. Bat it, I guess. Okay.
Yeah, no, and that's right. Yes, that's right. Defenders are, because they know Ben's going to get rid of the ball so quickly, they're keeping their eyes on the quarterback and trying to bat the ball down at the line of scrimmage or get a tip for an interception. They're sitting on all the slants and everything. Ben's got to open this thing up. He's got to be more accurate on intermediate passes. He's got to be more accurate on deeper passes. Yeah, I mean, a lot of this. Look, you can't say that all of this offense is just on just on the offensive coordinator. Ben Roethlisberger played 2 of his worst games against Buffalo and Cincinnati, and there was no amount of Randy Fichtnering your way into wins with the way Ben was playing in those games. So, if Ben doesn't play well in this Browns game, the Steelers will lose.
Just sounds like a cuss word for some reason. Trying to get flagged. Anchoring.
Anthony
Valdez for $2. He says the Browns are not an easy team to beat. I agree with that. I definitely agree. We got another one from Richard as well. It says Quincy nailed it. Ben understandably didn't want to get hurt in the regular season. This is win or go home. It's not Randy.
And I do think it will be interesting, like Quincy said, can you flip a switch, right? If this was a risk-averse team in the regular season and saying, hey, we're just trying, we're basically playing not to lose, right? They'll park the bus. If you watch soccer, right? The idea of just like, Jose Mourinho, get a 1-0 lead and then just park the bus. If that was the idea for this Steeler team in the regular season, can they flip a switch in the postseason? Can they do that, especially if they're going to go up against these high-powered offenses? And Cleveland can be that. We've seen them be that at so many times this season.
Don't
Man,
you try to flip your football into this, Tony.
Where are y'all at? Where are y'all at? No super chats from you guys. That's all I'm going to say.
They know better. They know better than to trash talk the Titans. They have learned that lesson.
They're currently in Vietnam right now. They're in flashbacks.
Justice Holmes for $5. I'm not going to stop believing in the Browns no matter what. We've come too far to lose hope now. Believeland. That's what's up. Let's see. Got some other ones I'm going to roll through here. Jay Blitz comments $2. My prediction is 24-14 Pittsburgh.
It's reasonable.
Got Musty Watermelon. I like that name, Musty Watermelon. I like the logo too. Okay. If Ben plays awful in the first, does Mason come in?
If he has negative, this is going to be it's a great question. First of all, imagine the score is like 6-0 Browns, and Ben has one of those like negative passing yard type games in the first half, right? Where literally the offense just cannot win football, but defense is good enough to win. Does Mason actually come in? No, he doesn't. But it will be a fun halftime on Twitter, certainly.
By the way, Tony, real quick question. I wanted to know what you have heard from them. What was up with those 2 guys fighting on the sidelines with Isaiah Buggs and
Tomlin loves it.
Yeah, listen, no, I mean it's the old Tomlin has to say 2 dogs, 1 bone, and it literally happened on the sideline where the 2 guys were literally fighting over playing time. I think there was an opening in this game. I think one of the things about this game was that the Steelers wanted to find another rotational defensive lineman between Buggs and Carlos Davis. Spoilers, it ended up being Chris Wormley. Chris Wormley was very good in this game. Neither of Buggs or Carlos Davis were any good in this game. So, yeah, they can fight on the sideline. Chris Wormley took their snaps.
That was weird.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We got another one from John Cockensberg for $5. Sorry, guys. Sorry if you've already answered this, Quincy. But do you think the play calling will be a lot different than what Kevin would call, since it's up to Alex Van Pelt now? That's a good question.
I don't think it's gonna be that much different. Alex Van Pelt has called offenses before, has done that before, and he's done it with the Browns, at least in training camp. This is a pretty uniform set system. Like, it's not really a lot you can do that's different when it comes to the play calling here or there. And I trust that Alex Van Pelt will be able to do the right thing, knows the personnel well enough. He's been very good in his role. This is a guy who helped Andy Dalton look as good as he's ever looked, helped Aaron Rodgers when he was over there, and he's helping Baker Mayfield now. Have no reason to think he's going to be a massive issue once given a little bit more responsibility.
The problem for Alex Van Pelt in this game is it's the old, you work for a team now, but you're facing your favorite team, because Alex Van Pelt, I don't know if you guys know this.
There we go.
Born in Pittsburgh, went to college in Pittsburgh, and then started his NFL career in Pittsburgh. So
unless he wants to coach in Pittsburgh next year, call a good game.
Come through for us, Alex. We need you.
So Sato Kabais, I hope I'm saying that right, his bank account.
Sato Kaiba.
Sato Kaiba? Okay.
Yeah, like Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah. Oh, nice. Dope. If the Steelers lose to the Dusty Browns, that's disrespectful. In a playoff game, y'all getting clowned for life.
Okay, I said this before.
If the Steelers lose to 11-5 team, they're getting clowned.
This is worse. Hold on. Yeah, hold on. Okay, and look, you guys can yeah, thank you.
It's not worse than
Tebow.
Browns.
This is worse than Blake Bortles. Really? Is it really worse than Tebow and Bortles? Because the Steelers have already had both. Mike Tomlin, Ben Roethlisberger already both lost those games. Okay, so I don't know that losing to an 11-5 Browns team, and look, they don't have their coach. So yeah, I mean, this would be a bad loss. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know that it's worse than Bortles or worse than Tebow.
I said to Tony before the stream started, it's not that it's a bad loss, but
it's worse than losing to the Bengals on Monday night.
That is true.
But it's not as bad as that. No.
Well, if the Steelers lose this game, then they will have to look at themselves deeply. Like, what are we doing here? Right? We lost in the first round of the playoffs. It's not because of the Browns. We lost in the first round of the playoffs after starting 11-0. Where do we go from here? Right? Because cap situation is not like, oh well, we have cap. Let's just get all these holes filled by this amount of money we have. They don't.
Are there a lot of holes though? Are there a lot of holes though? I don't know. There's not a lot of holes. You got to fix the running game. You got to fix the offensive line.
And I would argue, like,
offensive
before
line.
the season started, like we just went over how wildly varied the record predictions were for this Steeler team.
Yeah.
Like, was this a team that, like, before the season started, we thought was going to be in the Super Bowl? Even when they were 11-0, only Tony thought they were going to be a Super Bowl team. Like, nobody else really was buying it, So it's like it's not like this is nowhere near. And I know Sato Kaiba, you got to be a Ravens fan, but this is not near to when the Ravens at 14-2 lost to the Titans at home. Like, that's different. Like, you guys were the favorite to win it all last year, and you lost in the first playoff game that you played. Like, that's a little bit more embarrassing than losing to a team that you're only better than, and by the record, by one game, and like, okay, I guess we're gonna act like the Browns are like a 7.
Yeah, but remember, fans.
I guess that's what we're doing.
Yeah, fans are going to do the thing of like, your backups were better than your starters type thing, right? Like if let's say the Browns win something like 30 to
I'm probably going to tweet something along those lines.
Yeah, you are. Yeah. Don't even act like you're not. Of course. The backups would have been better off playing in the playoff games. Things like that are going to get said, of course. Even though,
but it's not as embarrassing as losing to Tim Tebow, Blake Bortles, Ryan Finley, Mike Glennon did y'all in one year. Like, there's worse ways to go. Like, it's a rivalry game. It's an AFC North game. Like, anybody could win. Like, that, don't we say that? Throw the schedules, throw the records out against the rivalry game.
Right. We're all 0. We're all 0. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Big Mike Tomlin going to say they cooking hot in the kitchen or whatever, So, we'll see.
So, we got another one from Sato, and he says, Henry is getting clapped. Ain't that right, Sonny?
Don't y'all know better than Henry name in your mouth?
Okay.
Doing this to yourselves.
Listen to this. I have a video right now explaining the keys to the game for this game. Obviously, on Thursday, I'm coming here and talk about this game. But I will not mind if what we did in the last game, the only way that you can contain. There's no way to stop Henry. Slow him down a little bit. It's, when you hit him, you have to hit him hard and punish him. And there's not that many people that can do that, but the Joker did it last game, so I won another hit like that. But the only difference is I won a victory too. So I'm not gonna get into depth in this one because we're gonna talk about this on Thursday. But yeah, I mean, if you want to contain Henry, you need to stop him. Or hit him, right? There's no way to stop Henry. It's only slow him down a little bit.
It's crazy because the rest of the screen knows what it's like to beat the Titans, except for Sonny over there.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody knows hopefully to stop Henry though.
At the bottom of the screen does. We held him under 100 both teams both times. I mean, yeah. Well, Henry wasn't that big of a fact. He wasn't as big as a factor as AJ Brown was.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
Stop it there,
Henry. Big problem.
Yeah. Got another one here for $10. He says, "Hey Quincy, what are the Browns going to do without Stefanski as the play caller and Joe as a lineman and Hodge as a receiver when Higgins or Landry or DPJ, Donovan Peoples-Jones, is tired?"
Well, the big thing is that Donovan Peoples-Jones might not play. He's in concussion protocol. So you might be out 2 wide receivers and going to have to see your boy Jamarcus Brantley out there again or something goofy like that. Or Marvin Hall. You don't know who the hell is going to be out there.
Let's put Marvin out there.
Yeah, let's put Jarvis Landry in a bubble. The biggest problem, though, I don't think it's going to be the wide receivers or it's going to be Kevin Stefanski. The biggest thing they need to address is that offensive line, right? I joked about Nick Harris not being in there, but that is the backup guard. I don't know who the guard is going into this game that's going to be on Joe Bitonio's side. Hopefully, you have all 4 of your other really good linemen out there so they can kind of help make up for that. Your tight ends are all healthy. But yeah, that's a big problem, right? Cam Hayward is going to be on whoever is that dude that fills in for Joe Bitonio. And it ain't like Cam Hayward had a problem with Joe Bitonio the last time. That's going to be the key matchup. That's going to be the key injury or the key player missing that could blow this whole game up for the Cleveland Browns. Kevin Stefanski not being there, I don't think that's going to have as big as an impact as a lot of people think it's going to. A lot of what Kevin Stefanski does is before the game. I get he calls the plays, but I am of the opinion that play calling is a little overrated. Unless you're completely incompetent, i.e. Freddie Kitchens, you should be able to call plays in the NFL. If you have been an NFL veteran on the offensive side of the football for a number of years, it should not be that difficult. But it's something that we left the laud coaches for, so it gets a little overrated in that sense. So that's really, the wide receivers, that situation is going to be what it is. As long as you have Jarvis, I feel all right, and Higgins, I feel all right. But the offensive line, Joe Bitonio not being out there and him having no backup, essentially, that's a little worrisome. I don't know what they're going to do to fix that.
So we got another one here from Juan Vasquez. He says, "Pray for healing for Browns defensive end Vernon." I'm thinking he's talking about Olivier Vernon.
Yeah, Olivier Vernon, yeah.
Get paid next year somewhere else.
He ain't getting paid till 2023. He popped his Achilles at the end of this season, so he's not going to be back till the end of next season. So he's got a long road back.
He's got a long road. Any players that have to go.
He was having his best year as a Brown. The best year since he was in New York, but unfortunately, he popped his Achilles.
He was getting killed, in if I remember right. Browns fans last year were killing Olivier.
Oh, I was specifically the one killing him all offseason. Yeah. So glad he stepped up halfway through the season.
Got another super chat here from my man OP. I'm not even gonna. Sorry, man. I cannot pronounce that, my friend. I do not want to murder it. I think it may be Dismas. Maybe, possibly. If the Steelers are the only North team to win, can we use Renegade for the opening music? That is
no.
Listen, hold on.
No.
Hard no. If the Steelers if the Titans pull off the upset and the Steelers win, Amazon will be sold out of props. There will be no props on Amazon. I'm going to buy them all on Sunday night. They will be here for Tuesday's show. Don't worry about it. Steeler fans, we're gonna have a great time if that happens.
Woo, man.
So we got another one here. Straight up from Who Dey Nation. Appreciate you. Billy Williams, $5. Ace, how the linebacker play who stated the Bengals were stopping. Oh, God, this isn't a Bengals fan. I just walked into that one. How did Jermaine Pratt, who stated the Bengals were stopping the Ravens from making the playoffs? I guess he's asking how did he play? I have no idea, but obviously
not good. They gave up
400 yards.
400 yards rushing. I'm pretty sure it was not good.
I would say not good. Yeah.
Because we had not talked anything about Ravens and Bengals, and there's a reason why, Ravens fan. Because then I get called you're not talking about the Ravens. This game was we were talking before the stream. This game was annihilation, like completely dominance. So all I can say for this game is like we played great and the Bengals didn't. I have not seen
great. You guys almost set a record on the ground.
That
400 rushing yards in this game.
Lamar stays the whole game. We would have, but Lamar has not been pulled that early since like mid last year. Because usually Harbaugh doesn't like to pull him until like fourth quarter. And he got pulled like
preseason game shit on.
Quincy, I tweeted you. I said, Al Woods, hold my beer. I would take Al Woods right now.
Joe Woods.
Joe Woods. Joe Woods. Al Woods. Xavier Woods. I don't care.
Luther did his job, right?
You said what?
Yeah. Did the Bengals fire their DC yet?
No.
He's staying.
He's coming back. He's coming on back. Zach,
he's coming back.
He's coming back.
Wait. Jim Turner's not coming back.
Jim Turner's not coming back. The whole crew except Jim Turner, some random positional coaches, but the gang's all back. They're coming all back.
We're getting the band back together. I love it.
We tried for you. We tried.
Gangs all year.
But yeah,
it's the Steelers game. The Steelers was the nail that said like, hey, we need to bring them back. And then not only that, they said, hold my beer, we went and beat the Texans so we can F ourselves on the draft order. The Bengals did.
Yeah.
So they were like,
Dan Panay right to the Miami Dolphins.
Kings
Felt
of the North.
good last week. Didn't
Kings
feel good
we
this
60
week.
chest. Kings of the North. Mike Tomlin, great job on that one.
By the way,
nothing to worry about.
So 50, I'm gonna get on that bet because
I don't know, but you're gonna have more dollars that I owe you than Brandon Allen had passing yards in this game with that 48 that he had for the entire game.
But that's just a regression to the mean, right? Because he had like 400 against the Texans, and in the universe is like, oh no, you got way too much. That's the football version of the IRS being like, you got way too much on your return, kid.
As soon as look, and Brandon Allen started this game with a slant to Higgins, beautiful pass. Higgins was running until he fell down by himself. Right, but it was OPI, right? They call OPI.
Typical Bengals luck. The reception that would have broken the Chris Collinsworth rookie record from T. Higgins. It's like, oh nope, OPI.
And after
this hurts on the play, no record broken.
And after that, Brandon Allen was like, "I'm afraid," and I was it.
Yeah, it was bad. The Bengals were playing like they were already in vacation mode. It was pretty bad. We got another one here from Misfit Culture TV for $5. Rashard Higgins was cited for drag racing. Quincy, what are your thoughts?
This is just the stupid stuff that like football players tend to do. They just tend to do just real dumb stuff like race their like expensive cars. And this is along the lines of like dumb Rashard Higgins stuff, but it's never been like an organizational problem. Like, whatever, man. Just don't crash your freaking cars drag racing on these wet, snowy, slippery ass Ohio streets. Like, stop. Just that's a call he needs to get from somebody on the coaching staff in the locker room. Like, hey, bro, stop being stupid. This is the playoffs. Like, we literally got 2 wide receivers. Like, you need to get in the house, dog. Why are you outside? You see everybody getting it. Get in the house. Get in the house. This is not.
It is
socializing.
Yeah. I mean, if it is true, though, by the way, I think there's like 5 new cases today or something like that, and they all came from different strains. Like, it's not a community. It's all community spread. It's not. I mean, look. You have to say like that's not a great look for the Browns organization. 5 people getting it 5 different ways. It's not like a spread of one guy got it and then he spread it. It was 5 different people all got it. And I understand, like look, COVID is not something that you could be very responsible and still get it. I'm not trying to say that, but just not a great look.
Yeah,
right, Sato's taking shots. Sato with the $2 jump shot.
This is going to turn into a Ben Roethlisberger discussion, and I eject.
How does it feel to have the 4th best quarterback, Quincy? He's all right. You're gonna set him off. Go ahead, Quincy. Get him.
The 4th best quarterback.
5th, if you consider Mason, by the way.
Are we saying like? I mean, if you're saying the NFL, I think that's a little bit too high. That's a little bit too high for Baker Mayfield. I think Baker's probably 10th or 11th in the NFL. But like if we're gonna compare, is he the 4th best quarterback in the AFC? What's he when it comes to the whole league? Because that's really what matters. Say Joe Burrow does become who Joe Burrow looks like he can become. Lamar Jackson becomes a perennial MVP candidate, and Baker Mayfield somebody who's a perennial All-Pro guy. And Steelers have whoever they have after Big Ben.
Mason,
he'll be technically the 3rd best quarterback, but what if he's like the 7th best quarterback in the league? Does it matter? Like, does it matter?
I agree.
As long as you can win with him, then you're fine. So yeah, he might be the fourth best quarterback in the AFC North eventually here. Who knows? I don't think he dips below 3. I don't think Mason Rudolph will be better than him in the coming years, but who
There's
cares?
an argument.
I get you're trying to get me to relitigate the whole Baker Mayfield thing, but if you watch Baker Mayfield the last half of the season and don't think that's a franchise starting quarterback in the NFL, then you are an idiot. And there's nothing I can do to cure idiocy or stupidity.
It's funny because I talked to Willie Anderson. We were talking about the Browns before this, and we were like, the Browns are good. And he brought up a good point. I think if Baker Mayfield wasn't taken number 1, and let's say he was just taken in the 20s, you wouldn't hear any of this. If he was taken with a draft pick in the first round, I don't think that you would hear this. I think it's the fact that people saw him get drafted number 1, and there's all of these expectations with being taken number 1. Where is that smoke for Sam
Raven
Darnold?
fans salty that their guy went number 32 instead of number 1, but also it's if he didn't go 32, he wouldn't be with you. It's just it's just the goofiness. Lamar's great. Nobody's relitigating that anymore. Lamar's awesome. Congratulations, dog. But who cares at this point? Is Baker a good quarterback? Yes. Yeah. Is Baker a quarterback you can win with? Yes. What does it matter at this point, right?
At the end of the year, at the end of this year, at least, if we talk about all 4 quarterbacks, obviously we can't talk about Burrow. So let's talk about the other 3 because Burrow was injured. But of the other 3,
I would say pretty consistently all this year, if not number 1 at some points.
Yeah. So let me say this in defense.
There's been a portion where it's been Lamar at the end of the season. I would say Lamar's been the best quarterback at the end. Playing right now, he's been the best. And then, if you're counting the last 4 weeks, right, you have to count the Cincinnati game. You would have to say, you have to get Baker the tiebreaker there because at least his bad game this month was with no wide receivers. Ben had all of his players there. That would be the tiebreaker there. And Joe Burrow just hasn't played.
And that's what I was going to say. I think Lamar, at some point, he went through a funk, and I would put him number 3 in the division. Then, he took off, and I think he's playing the best quarterback in the division. And arguably, you can say Big Ben is playing the least of the 3 as of right now.
Right, because he's only played one half of good football. Yeah, I was surprised, Quincy didn't bring up. I don't know if you saw this, but Baker Mayfield has the best PFF grade for the season of any of the AFC North quarterbacks.
Oh, that's interesting. I mean,
Lamar,
that's interesting. I don't think he's better than. I don't think he's had a better year than Lamar or a better year overall than Ben. I think he's just been. I think he hasn't had the highs. Well, he has had some highs this year, but he hasn't had as many highs. But he just hasn't had the lows. So consistently, he's going to be good on those averages, which is fine.
Yeah, and then what he's cut out is the thing that I killed him for forever, which is the interception stuff. Yeah, I mean, he ended up the year with actually less interceptions than Ben Roethlisberger did, and I think he's only had 2 interceptions in the last 8 games, something like that. Yep. So he's been really good in that way as well. And turnovers are such a big part of quarterback play.
I feel like that's a bet I won at some point in the season, but I'm gonna let it go.
And Lydia, I think she's responding here to.
Got to get the receipts. You got to have the receipts. I got the receipts.
I think she's responding to the Derrick Henry thing. She says, "I don't know. The Browns stopped Henry a couple times.
Browns and Steelers don't."
We've got one from the Trip. What up, Trip?
Hey, Trip.
Zach is going to be the coach for the next 8 years. Strap in, Ace. Proud of the AFC North. Be the best. Ravens get in that ring, though. Believe that. You can say that, Sonny.
Believe that.
That last one.
The dude who made up that sign's on the practice squad right now.
He actually played against the Bengals.
I mean,
everybody played against the Bengals. I'm pretty sure the water boy got in against the Bengals.
He could still be on the practice squad and have played against the Bengals. Both things can be true.
Tony, how you feeling about extending Ben for 2 years? I'm assuming.
Yeah. Extending Ben for another year. Yeah.
Yep. Getting the cap charge down, then drafting a quarterback to slowly replace him. We can't go into the 2021 season with Ben. Big Ben, medium-sized Ben?
Being medium-sized Ben?
Being medium-sized Ben. If not, who is the first-round pick?
First of all, shout out to Richard because I recognize the name. I believe he was a listener back when I was on Locked On Steelers. So shout out to you, Richard. Appreciate following me over here to AFC North Talk and appreciate the super chat. Hopefully you're still listening to Chris on Locked On Steelers as well. I think the Steelers, it's an interesting situation, the cap situation, because you could extend him for a year, kind of push the $41 million. Maybe you split it between the 2 years and get that down to somewhere in the 30s, I guess. I think that there's Mark Caboli wrote a really good article on this in The Athletic, though, where he made the case that you could just eat it next year. And still get away with it, especially given that there are rumors now that the NFL and the NFLPA are working out a way to keep the salary cap where it is, right? Instead of it going down, it will stay exactly where it is today. Yeah. Boy, that would help the Steelers a lot if that were to be the case. And then as far as drafting a quarterback, look, the Steelers are going to be in the 20s. As much as I'm on the Zach Wilson hype train, so is the rest of the world, that he's going to be a top 5 quarterback. So the other player there is going to be Trey Lance, perhaps. I'm not a Kyle Trask guy. He's Mason Rudolph. I'm not a Mac Jones guy. He's also Mason Rudolph. So, the other guys in this draft, Trey Lance I might like, but I don't know that Kevin Colbert's going to like him, because when you listen to Kevin Colbert and what he talked about with the guys who sat out the entire year, he said, look, if you're sitting out an entire year, yeah, that's going to weigh you down on our draft board because we just haven't seen you for a year. So I imagine the Steelers are going to wait to take a quarterback until after Ben Roethlisberger retires.
So we got another one here from my guy, Mike Shepard, for $5. Appreciate that, Mike. We didn't get the question, though, so if you can comment it, and if any of you guys see it, please be sure to let me know and send it to me. But appreciate that, and thank you for your service, I believe. It looks like you're a serviceman, so appreciate your service. Codex 655 for $5 says, is it too early to say that J.K. Dobbins will be a future star? Sonny, what are your thoughts?
Jake can look good. Also benefits for the playing with Lamar, right? The running backs playing with Lamar, they benefit. You'll see people saying, "Well, this quarterback is wide receiver friendly offense." Well, Ravens right now, they're a running back friendly offense, but JK, man, the vision that he has, that's what I'm impressed. And then he reminds me a lot of Ray Rice. He's short, he's stocky, he's strong for being a 5'8" guy. So when he goes through the A or B gap, he gets lost between all those linemen, and he knows how to cut and go. I like him. Future star. Look, there's a lot of really good running backs right now in the league. I think he could be a top 10 running back in the league. But, I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to be good for the Ravens. Future star, first year, we'll see. I think it's too early to say.
I saw something where he broke the rookie touchdown record or something like that. Is that true?
I believe so. The big thing with the JK, obviously, he didn't get a lot of carries early in the year, right? And now as the season has gone, him and Gus are basically splitting carries. And he got 8 touchdowns total, which is good for the amount of carries that he got. So, yeah, don't get me wrong. He's really good. He fits this Ravens team. But, like I said, future star. He didn't come in and take it like Zeke did it or some of the other big-time running backs. I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to be great for the Ravens. Future start, it's first year. We'll see.
All right, so we got another one here from Morel for $5. Says that ring, though. Woo.
Got to be a Steeler fan. 6 of them, maybe 7th. You never know.
By the way, have you guys ever seen a Steeler fan walk around in one of those varsity Steeler jackets that have like all the Super Bowls that they've won on them? Yeah. Just that right there just made me hate Steeler fans this morning.
Well, here's the thing, Quincy. What you don't understand as a Steeler fan is you're taking a big risk buying that jacket because it may be out of date in a year. You know what I'm saying? So
I don't know. Wait.
Things are expensive, man. You're spending $200-300 on a jacket.
What year did Tom Brady's career start?
Isn't it like a collector's item at this
2001.
2001. Tom Brady's career started in 2001. Much younger than the Steelers' entire organization. Don't he got more rings than the Steelers now?
He has the same amount.
Oh, he's equaled you guys in 19 years? That's interesting.
That's fine. He's not better than us. Steelers still the best. Still the best franchise.
Tom Brady's better than you guys. Tom Brady is better than the Steelers. I think he's proven that multiple. Have you guys ever beat him in the playoffs?
Next question.
All right, next question, huh?
Next question. Oh, I can't wait to get into this next question. My guy stayed over for $5. I will be forever grateful to Ace and the Bengals for cracking that corny juju. This is the AFC North. Clean that up.
We're still doing this? Are we still? I did show the shirt off.
I had to because I'll tell you guys a little story behind why I bought this shirt. I live in Orlando, Florida. Steelers fans apparently travel everywhere. So I'm going to a Publix one day, and this is after Like this is years after actually Vontaze Burfict isn't even like a Bengal anymore or anything. So I'm going into the Publix local store and I see this guy and he's wearing the shirt that was made with like Juju standing over Vontaze.
My dad.
And I was just like, and I'm just like, oh, really? Okay, all right. So as soon as this shirt happened, and it's funny because I don't know, I don't think that I'm not going to say that I created this shirt or anything like that, but I posted the old Steelers shirt and I was like, don't forget they made these after the game. And then this is actually courtesy of Cincy Shirts. So if you're a Bengals fan, please support Cincy Shirts. Somebody tagged the guy from Cincy Shirts and he came up with this design and replied to me and was like, is this good? So this shirt, this is exactly why I'm wearing the shirt. I kind of felt some type of way when I saw the guy wearing it. And I'm like, usually I don't step to fans in public. I almost did on that one. And so when I could get my own shirt, I decided to go ahead and buy it for sure.
By the way, a funny side note. This is not serious. I don't want people to be like, oh, this is a serious threat going into next week's game. But Juju scores the touchdown that almost ties the game if you get the 2-point conversion. When he scores it, he does his little TikTok dance, right?
Yeah, TikTok dance.
Then they don't get the 2-point conversion. You see the camera cut over to Mike Tomlin. And Mike Tomlin's like, boy, didn't I tell you to stop doing that damn dance? Like, and Juju's like, I can't do it after I score. Like, it's the funniest thing ever because Tomlin was mad at him. He wasn't even in the play. Well, he was in the play, but he was running a route that was clearly designed to just get people out the way.
I was
like, that's all because he danced and did the TikTok dance. And Tom like, damn it, I told you to stop doing it. That's just hilarious. That was hilarious.
So we got another one from Arel for $5. Ravens champions this year. We just need to wait and watch.
Yeah, I think what he was saying is that's what Mark Ingram says. The whoop whoop. That's what it was.
All right, so
Mark Ingram's going to retire.
But I enjoyed every minute of it.
Great.
No structure. AFC North fans, passionate. We appreciated you guys for tuning in. Before we get out of here, Quincy, let them know where they can find your stuff.
Hey, you can find me on youtube.com/Quincy Carrier. You can also find me just getting a bunch of saran wrap, finding Baker Mayfield, finding Nick Chubb, finding Kareem Hunt, and just wrapping them up, locking them in the house and being like, if you need food, you got to order that. And they got to put it in like a nice little sealed, hermetically sealed box. You ain't. I saw Baker take a picture with. Well, that wasn't the one I got mad at because that was like a fan. He was like on his deathbed. Baker took the picture with him. Like, you can't really be mad at that. But if anybody in Cleveland sees a Browns player, get away, run away, stay your butt away, and you better not try to shake Baker's hand this week or say nothing to Nick Chubb. Well, you better get them get them out of Ohio. Just get them out of Ohio. Put them somewhere in the middle of Western PA. Put them in Moon. Get them already near the airport. Get them out of here. Just let's control our losses at this point, because if I get the alert on my phone, Baker Mayfield tested positive, I'm a scream. If I have to see Case Keenum out there in the playoff game, y'all know how I feel about Case Keenum. If I have to see Case Keenum against the Steelers, I will scream.
I'll take it. I will allow it.
And Tony, where can people find your stuff at?
Can we do the super chat from Trib real quick? Because
I'm sorry.
Yeah. He says, is it weird that Juju was in more headlines than Antonio Brown? That's why I wanted him on the Ravens. Distractions overrated. Trib, clearly you're not a Steeler fan because Antonio Brown was in way more headlines than Juju.
I think
I haven't seen any lately. Out of Tampa.
Right, he's on his best behavior now. He lives in Tom Brady's house. Great. Tom Brady took his phone away. That's fine. But in his career, lifetime achievement award, that's Antonio Brown. Okay, he was doing the Snapchat from the locker room or the Facebook Live from the locker room. He's throwing Gatorade bottle or Gatorade stuff. He's not showing up to practice on Monday. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of fun stuff with Antonio Brown.
There's ever a award for a player who has had a Hall of Fame or like all pro level career cut drastically short and weird due to their own like mistakes, it should be the Antonio Brown, Josh Gordon Redemption Award, because those are the two players who have literally led the league in receiving yards and then just vanished the next year because of their own doing.
All you have to do, Browns fans, is put Fortnite on like the screen at the game, or like put some TikTok stuff on the sideline. You won't have to worry about Juju. He'll be too distracted by that stuff and concentrate on the game. But Tony, where can they find your stuff?
Yeah, you can find me on Locked On Steelers every Tuesday with my friend Chris Carter is on there today. So make sure you give that a listen as well if you're a Steeler fan. And then you can follow me on Twitter at Steeler Country. And of course, you can find me here Tuesday and Thursday, 5:45 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you guys are subscribed and hit the bell so you know when we go live.
Sonny, my guy, where can people find your stuff at?
SCG Sport right now. If you want to know my thoughts a little bit more in depth, I also have a behind the enemy lines in that video. Go to SCG Sports on YouTube and also IG, Facebook, Twitter, SCG Sports. I've been getting a lot of Bengals, Browns fans, not as many Steelers fans, but some on Twitter. Shout out to everybody that is following. Obviously, subscribe to this channel, guys, because somebody said like, "Oh, are you guys gonna stop streaming now the season's almost?" Like, nah, we're gonna stream. We did it through the off season last year. We are gonna do players draft. So just make sure you hit that bell because times will change as the season winds down. But yeah,
we'll be twice a week in the off season. I can guarantee you that.
it won't be.
So you guys can find me at New Stripe City. You can also find me looking at all 22 film of draft prospects pretty much the rest of the season. So you guys will be watching playoff games. I will be in NFL draft mode.
My boy Ace about to be watching Panay draft film, listening to Drake crying and stuff.
I'm going to be running mock draft machine scenarios. We're doing it all. Mock free agency, mock coaching hires, mock positional coaching hire. We're doing it all.
Look, if 4 people trade up into the top 5, we can still get Panay. We can still do it.
What site is it that has it that you can do like the mock free agency or whatever? You can mock the entire offseason. I forget what site that is. Also,
I'm gonna find it wherever it is.
I have a question for you. In these playoffs, are you like rooting for the AFC North at all? Like like the whole college thing. Oh, we want the SEC to do well. Do you want to see an AFC North team win the Super Bowl, or are you rather like, hey, you know what? Maybe they all just eliminate and don't have to worry about it.
Okay, so I will say this. Obviously, I'm going to cheer for the Browns to beat the Steelers. I have to. That's a given. But after that, all bets are off. No, I do not want any of the AFC North teams.
That's what I would say. That's what I would say.
That's what I would say too. Yeah, that's what I would say too. Yeah.
Actually,
it's weird because my brother-in-law was like, "Go AFC North" when we were like eliminated, and I was like, "No, that's not."
I don't want any other AFC North team to win the Super Bowl, but I wouldn't mind the AFC Championship game between the Browns and the Ravens. The only team I'm like, nah, they can't. Obviously, I don't want to advance. It's the Steelers because we play them. Even if the Steelers weren't playing us, they're playing like Buffalo. I'd be like, nah, they can't advance. I'm going to be cheering for Buffalo.
There's one thing I've learned of this show. It is the absolute hate that every AFC North team has for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Didn't realize it was that strong, but certainly learned it as soon as we started this show.
Because your fans are smelly. Your fans just stink.
But obviously, you guys, thank you guys for all of the support. We truly appreciate it. It's been an amazing season. It's clearly not over. We're coming to you guys Thursday with the preview of all of these playoff games. You won't want to miss that. You saw what happened today. Hit that notification bell. You can always catch us here at the AFC North Talk. We appreciate you guys for listening, and we will see you on Thursday.
Have you ever felt? Are you listening? Damn.